What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. It's your boy Devin Gonzalez, and I just want to give you guys a couple updates before we go into the episode today. The episode we're going to go into is comparison is the thief of joy. But before we go into that, with this Mindset Cafe transition from what was formerly the Strive Tribe podcast, we're going to be bringing on some guests in all walks of life, in entrepreneurs. We've had a professional athlete on, and we're going to be bringing other people in to give you guys more tools and more perspectives to help build yourself and your arsenal to better equip yourself and build that growth mindset. Here on the Mindset Cafe podcast, we want to impact others through providing the knowledge and advice on how to become the best version of yourself through your personal development and building that growth mindset. And what better way to do it than bring other people on that have grown and have bettered themselves in different areas and different, aspects, whether it is mindset, whether it is fitness, whether it is, professionally or, spiritually. So we'll be bringing some other people on so you guys can hear some different perspectives and different things to help your journey and help you progress and grow yourself. But now let's get back into the episode. So comparison is the thief of joy. I heard that quote today and it got me thinking. That quote that was originally said by Teddy Roosevelt, it goes into when we compare, we determine our worth that's according to other people's performance in life, in relationships, in social media, and that could lead to feelings of, insignificance or even insecurity or, lowering your view of yourself and your self-worth. So today's episode is really to dive into that topic of, are you comparing yourself to others, and are you using it as a negative mindset process, or are you using it to a positive benefit? And if you're using it towards a negative mindset process, then, this is going to be the topic that you really want to tune into, because we're going to start to shift that mindset thought process and allow you to start viewing comparison not as a bad thing or a negative thing and a judgmental thing, but you should be using it to motivate or inspire yourself to want to better yourself or to grow. So today's episode is really going to go into how are you using comparison, because when Teddy Roosevelt said, comparison is the thief of joy, what did he mean? If you really think about it, if you're comparing yourself to others and you're using it to belittle yourself or belittle the growth that you've had, you're taking the joy away from your accomplishments. You're taking the joy and the pride that you've accomplished so far. And that can cause a downward spiral of just negativity. How are you comparing yourselves to others professionally, in your relationships, and all those things? Are you comparing yourself and, feeling any sense of like envy or resentment or decreased in your self-worth? Because if so, then there goes your joy, right? There goes your pride, your happiness in just your day-to-day life. For example, let's take this downward spiral so you can kind of see what I mean. Let's say you go on social media, right? And you're constantly checking your social media, and then you see one of your classmates or you see one of your colleagues or one of your friends, one of your peers, and you see that, they're getting promoted or they're getting, all these followers, or, they're blowing up in business and they're growing and they're being more successful, while you feel that you're stuck. Instead of focusing on your own growth, what can tend to happen is you become obsessed with seeing that person's success, right? So now every time you're going on social media, instead of, promoting yourself or, doing things to help your growth or do the things that you need to do, the tasks that you need to accomplish for the day, you're stuck trolling, your friend or your colleague and feeling inadequate on the accomplishments that you've had. And then you start to have this resentment towards that person because they're growing. So then you start to talk negatively, whether it's in your head or out loud, about what they're doing, how they're doing it. So instead of focusing on, their growth and all those things, you need to just focus on your growth. Think about all the time you've spent watching them do their thing and all that time that's been wasted that you could have used towards what you need to do. And in doing that and watching them, it does nothing positive for you, right? When you're just watching them and then getting jealous and, wondering why they're more successful or why they're in this happy relationship or how did they, get a promotion at their job or whatever the case is. Instead of just watching and getting envious of their growth, you could have just spent that time focusing on your own growth. So it becomes a snowball effect when you let that mindset train kind of set in of that jealousy or that envy, and that's where that thief of joy comes from, right? Because it gets stolen from you. All that joy, all those accomplishments, they're just ripped away and they're stolen because you're focusing on someone else and comparing yourself and belittling yourself. You're being your own bully. You're that 5-year-old on the playground, pushing yourself down in the sandbox. So you have to start to reshift how you're thinking about others and their accomplishments so that you can continue your growth and you continue your path to where you want to be. On the flip side of things, you can use that comparison as a positive, right? You can compare yourself to others for motivation. Seeing them succeed can inspire you or even motivate you to try to do it, right? It's one of those concepts. I've had this thought, for a while. It's one of those things, if they can do it, I can do it. What's different from them than me? Nothing. You still both have the same 24 hours in the day. You still have 7 days in the week, 365 days in the year. What's different from them and you? They're willing to put in the work while you're watching them put in the work. The tasks that you need to get done, you're putting it off to the side so that you can watch them do those same tasks. You know what you need to do, but you're becoming jealous and you're having your joy stolen from you because you're watching someone else do what you could also do, what you need to be doing, right? So, for example, when you want to use comparison as a motivation, let's say, actually I've seen this pretty much firsthand in the mastermind group that I'm a part of, the Real Business Owners. We actually had one of the owners on one of the episodes of the Strive Tribe podcast, Trevor Cowley. He is an avid runner and he's been doing it for a little while, and it's not like he's been running all his life. More recently, he got into fitness and, he became successful in business and then, realized that he wanted to improve his fitness and his personal development and his mindset. But him running and always posting his runs and posting how many miles he did and that he gets up early, it has inspired a lot of other people in the group to start running, right? And to start becoming more physically fit and to not just work on their business, but also to work on their personal development. So him showing what he's doing, it's not for others in the group to see it and be like, damn, why is he running so much? Why isn't he just focusing on his business? Why is he successful in both business and fitness? No, they're turning that and they're seeing him become fit and how he's feeling. And they're like, wow, I want to feel like that. And they're using him as motivation to also push themselves. And now that has a ripple effect of success, right? Because him hitting these personal achievements, for his 30th birthday, he ran 31 miles, 32nd, ran 33 miles and so forth. It's inspired his son. It's inspired other people in the group to do it. Well, there's another member in the group that wasn't even an avid runner, and all of a sudden decided to sign up for a 50 mile run. And now he wants to do a 100-mile run. And I was like, dude, that's crazy, But it's one of those things where this has turned into a snowball effect of motivation and positive comparison, because it's one of those things where all of a sudden one person does this and it's like, damn, I could do that, but watch, I'm gonna do that plus one. And then that person's like, dude, that's so sick, you hit that plus one, now watch, I'm gonna do that plus one, and it becomes this little competition, but it's all out of positivity, and we're encouraging each other to do it, whether it's in business, whether it's in fitness. So there's this ripple effect that has been casted from, let's say Trevor, if his runs were like skipping a rock in the lake, every time that rock hits the lake and those are his posts, there's a ripple effect that's going out. And now that ripple effect is touching other people's lives, and now they're starting to use that as motivation to increase their personal development, right, in fitness. They're starting to run. I made a joke with one of the guys in the group. I was like, damn, I'd signed up for a entrepreneurship mastermind, and I didn't know we joined a running group. But at the same time, it was all out of fun. Have I been running as well? Yes. Am I a huge running lover? No. But it's one of those things where I saw it and I was like, damn, I'm going to do that too. That's pretty dope. I'm going to better myself and use that motivation from others and continue to do it with them as well. So that ripple effect has even touched me. It's a healthy comparison because it creates a positive environment where we're pushing each other, and you could do the same thing. When you're seeing someone else succeed, you could use that as if they can do it, I can do it. So then all that is missing is the action behind it. All you need to do is take that step to go do those things, right? If you don't know what to do, look it up, reach out. Because at the end of the day, you can let it be healthy, or you can let it be unhealthy. You can let that ripple effect touch you and push you towards success, or you can let that ripple effect push you towards negativity and not growth, which means you're going to be stagnant, which isn't failing. I don't like the word failure, but it's one of those things where you stay going in the opposite direction that you need to go, right? So use that healthy comparison and use that as a motivation. Use the ripple effect to push you towards your growth, because when you're pushing yourself towards growth, your ripple effect is going to touch others, right? And I mean, that's one of my biggest core values, is to have a positive impact on as many people as I can, both in fitness, in entrepreneurship, with the franchise, and in any aspect. Now, also this podcast, the whole purpose is to have a positive impact. The ripple effect from the podcast, I'm hoping that other people do podcasts too. When I've talked to people that were thinking about starting a podcast, I told them to do it. I gave them all the resources that we use here. It's not a secret. It doesn't have to be a negative competition for everything. You can grow together. You can create that sense of community together. So you can either grow together, or you can let that just sit and become envious. But you need to start to try to shift your perspective on things and shift your mindset and shift that envy to inspiration, right? Take those steps to transform your negative thoughts into positive action, right? I'm gonna say it again, transform your negative thoughts into positive action. Not positive thoughts necessarily, but positive action, right? Because the only thing that's separating where you are and how you're feeling is because you are lacking the action taken to get where you want to be, or to who you're viewing and who you're envious of. You need to have and understand the importance of gratitude and focusing on your own personal growth. It's one of those things where you need to be grateful for your own success, where you've gotten this far. You need to set personal benchmarks or personal milestones that are small wins, whether it's daily, and then you could have weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly benchmarks, right? Obviously, with the length of time, the benchmarks should be a little bit bigger, but start with the daily ones, right? That's why we've talked about these in previous episodes of your power list, right? Do your 5 tasks, write your 5 tasks for the day that you need to accomplish, so that when you accomplish them, that's a W for the day, right? And then you start stacking those W's up, and now you all of a sudden are farther along towards your success or towards your goal than you would have been if you didn't stack those daily wins, right? Stack something for you to get done within the week on top of your daily wins, right? Something that's a little bit bigger, that takes a little more time, that you're going to take a few days to piece together. Same thing goes for a month, same thing goes for a quarter, same thing goes for a year. You're not going to lose 50 pounds in a day. That could be a yearly one. You're not going to go from never running to running 100 miles in a day, right? But again, that's a long-term one. But what could you do today to get towards that 100-mile goal? You could run a mile. If you've never run, go run a mile, run a half mile. Stack a couple half miles in this week. Your weekly goal could be to run 3 1-mile days, right? Now you have a W for the week. Your monthly goal is to get at least a 5-mile run. Then your quarterly goal is to get up to 25 miles. Whatever the case is for you, right? I'm just using running because that's what we had talked about in the beginning of this episode. But it doesn't have to be running, right? It could be your goal is to get a raise. Your goal is to, get a promotion, whatever the case is for you. But you have to break that down into daily, then weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, benchmarks, so that you can track it and you can get the self-accomplishment and the self-reward from achieving those goals. Do you need to go out and celebrate every single time you get a W? No. But those W's start to create a positive momentum and a positive mindset process that allows you to keep going. And that will allow you to create your own inspiration and your own motivation, right? When you see someone else succeeding, celebrate their wins, right? Acknowledge it, right? Genuinely be happy for them and for their growth or for their success, because you're telling the universe that you also like success. If you're just negative on other people's success, you're telling the universe that you don't like success. The world does work like that. You want to be negative about others? Believe me, you're about to go through some rough times. But it's one of those things where when you're genuinely happy for others succeeding, it keeps you in that joyous mindset, and it allows you to continue doing what you need to do. You also have to realize that you're creating a community when you're celebrating other people's wins, when you're acknowledging other people's success, all those kind of things. And if someone else is farther along the journey than you, you could always reach out and ask. You could always reach out for tips. Most people take giving advice as a compliment to them. Most people, I'm not saying everybody, but most people are more than willing to help you progress as well. But if you're in a negative mindset and you're being envious and you're talking down on their success, when you go to ask them, do you really think the way you word it and the way you talk to them is gonna be genuine? Probably not. And I guarantee they're probably gonna read how you're speaking, and they're gonna feel that jealousy behind the way you're asking. And they're not gonna really wanna give you the advice that you're looking for, right? Let's say you don't wanna go out of your shell and ask for help. What can you also do? You can also just reach out and go to, let's say, for example, let's say you wanna be a public speaker, right? And you see your friend or you see someone you know, all of a sudden they're doing public speaking events and stuff, and you don't want to ask them because you're embarrassed or whatever the case is. Instead of asking them, what can you do? You can go sign up for public speaking classes. You can sign up for a public speaking community or a Facebook group or something, right? There's other resources that you can use, and all of them are at your fingertips. You're on your phone trolling the people that you want to be, why not just use that same time, that same resource that you're already on, and just look up how to do it as well. You don't want to reach out to them? That's fine. But look up how to go do it and start taking action. Remember, you're shifting the negative thoughts that you have or had and turning them into action. So you'll only get that positivity if you take action, right? So you have to realize that it's not going to be a night and day thing. It's not going to be all of a sudden you're transformed. If you already have those negative thoughts, it's going to be an active process of you trying to refrain from having those thoughts and taking a positive step towards your growth, right? And the first one is just, honestly, don't be on social media as much as you currently are. Go on your phone and go to your settings and look up how much screen time you're on, right? One of your weekly goals could be to try to cut that down by a percentage. Use that time that you just cut down and do it and put that towards your growth, right? Put that towards your fitness, put that towards your career. Whatever your goal is, you can do it. And I guarantee you have the time, even though you say you don't, to accomplish what you want to accomplish. If we looked at your calendar and your day, and not just what you have written down, but if we had you daily tracking your days by the hour or by, let's say, 15-minute blocks and seeing how productive you were, I guarantee that there's a blend of time that is more than enough to do anything that you desire. But the real thing comes from starting to shift that mindset from letting comparison steal your joy. So set those little personal benchmarks and start creating daily wins so that you can also have a ripple effect on others, because you never know who else is watching. You never know who is that person that's judging where they are because you're farther than they are. And it's weird to think about, but you feel like you're not far enough, you feel like you're not worthy, or you have some embarrassment on your accomplishments. I guarantee you that there is someone in your life or someone in passing that judges you or is envious of you because you are farther than they are. Because realize there's always a further way down than where you currently are. There's always a way up. There's always growth, but there's always that downslope too. It's yin and yang. So don't be so hard on yourself. Accomplish daily, accomplish weekly, acknowledge your wins, acknowledge where you've gotten so far from the action that you've taken, and realize that it's a day in, day out process. One step at a time. You will get there, but you have to take the actions to get there, right? So just to recap, the thief of joy, it can be comparison, right? Comparison can be the thief of joy if you let it. It's only if you let it. So start shifting and changing that perspective to more of a growth mindset and start focusing on your personal development and your personal growth. And I guarantee you that that ripple effect will touch others and you will have a positive impact on others. And that's what we're here for, right? We're here to help each other out and grow as a community. And I just want to thank you guys all for tuning in for another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. We do have some special episodes coming up and some awesome guests coming on. I'm excited for those episodes to drop and also to, produce a couple of those episodes in the next, couple weeks. So stay tuned for those. If you guys have any topics that you want us to cover, please just reach out. The link to reach out is in the podcast episode bio. But I encourage you guys to celebrate your wins, celebrate other people's wins, and remember that you're on your own unique journey and you will get better through that positive action. With that said, see you on the next one, guys.